The world of wildlife is full of wonder, but it's also riddled with misconceptions. We've all heard the seemingly obvious truths about animals that have been passed down for generations. Today, we're challenging those popular beliefs with cold, hard science. Prepare to have your understanding of the animal kingdom flipped upside down, starting with one of the most iconic patterns in nature, the zebra's stripes. Many people assume zebra stripes are simply camouflage, but the reality is far more specific and fascinating. Every single zebra possesses a unique stripe pattern, much like a human fingerprint. No two zebras are identical. These striking black and white patterns serve two main purposes. First, they create a visual confusion for large predators, making it difficult to pick out an individual in a herd. And second, the optical illusion effectively deters biting insects like flies, which struggle to land on the complex pattern. In terms of behavior, forget the idea of them fighting. Zebras are social creatures living in close-knit family groups, and their bonding involves mutual grooming, not aggressive nip. Next, let's tackle one of the oldest insults in the book: blind as a bat. This widespread myth suggests that these nocturnal flyers are completely reliant on their echolocation because they cannot see. That is simply false. While many species of bats utilize echolocation, sending out sound waves and interpreting the echoes to navigate and hunt, their eyesight is perfectly functional. In fact, many can see quite well, particularly in low light. The myth likely originated because their flight patterns often appear erratic to the human eye. But rest assured, they are not flying blind. Moving from the air to the sea, let's talk about relationship goals. For years, the lobster has been romanticized as a symbol of lifelong monogamy and fidelity. Sadly, for the romantics among us, this is a beautiful lie. Lobsters are not monogamous. Instead, dominant male lobsters will establish temporary relationships and mate with multiple females. If you are looking for true devotion in the animal kingdom, you should turn your attention to the majestic gray wolf, the graceful swan, or the hardworking beaver, all of whom typically mate for life. Now, here's a myth many of us feared as children. Touching a frog or toad will give you warts. This misconception is easily dismissed by science. The bumpy skin of a toad is covered in glands, some of which secrete toxins for defense, but they absolutely do not cause human warts. Warts are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV, which is transmitted between humans. You can handle a frog without fear of a warty outcome. Perhaps one of the most foundational misconceptions concerns the anatomy of the turtle. You've seen it in cartoons. A turtle hastily removing its shell to run faster. This is physically impossible. A turtle's shell is not an accessory. It is an integral part of its skeleton, fused directly to its backbone and ribcage. The shell is literally bone, covered by scutes, and a turtle cannot survive, let alone walk, without it. Interestingly, the type of shell reflects its habitat. Aquatic turtles have thinner, more streamlined shells for swimming, while land tortoises have thicker, domed shells for protection. Speaking of unique anatomy, let's head to Australia to meet the koala. Believe it or not, these adorable marsupials possess fingerprints that are eerily similar to human ones. Under a microscope, it can be incredibly difficult to distinguish a koala's print from a human's, a similarity that has even caused momentary confusion for forensic police teams. This remarkable feature evolved not for manipulation, but to help them grip leaves and effectively detect the texture of their primary food source, eucalyptus. Back in the savannah, the image of an ostrich sticking its head in the sand to hide from danger is perhaps the most famous visual myth. The truth is far less dramatic. Ostriches never bury their heads in the sand when afraid. When threatened, their primary strategy is to run. They run fast. If they cannot escape, they may feign death. The origin of this myth stems from their real behavior of placing their heads into the sandholes to rotate their massive eggs, ensuring even heating from the sun. To a distant observer, this posture might look like the bird is burying its head. Our next debunking takes us to a small aquarium staple, the goldfish. The pervasive myth is that goldfish have a memory span of only 3 seconds. If this were true, they would be utterly incapable of recognizing their environment or learning. In reality, goldfish are far more intelligent. Studies have demonstrated that they can remember things for months. An experiment showed that goldfish could easily associate a specific musical cue with feeding time, successfully recalling this connection even 5 months later. This proves their memory is robust and capable of complex association. Let's look at our beloved domestic companions, dogs and cats. Many people still believe that dogs and cats are completely colorblind, seeing the world only in shades of black and white. While their color perception is different from humans, they are not seeing a grayscale world. They see colors, particularly within the blue and green spectrums, though their perception is less vivid than ours. Their visual prowess lies elsewhere. They possess significantly superior night vision compared to humans, making their low-light world much clearer. Finally, we address the danger of sharks. The dramatic myth suggests that all sharks must constantly keep swimming or they will die, as they need to force water over their gills, a process known as ram ventilation. While this is true for highly active species like the great white, it's not universal. Certain species, such as the nurse shark, can actively pump water over their gills while stationary on the seabed. However, sharks do lack a swim bladder, meaning that if they stop moving and cannot actively adjust their position, they will indeed sink to the bottom. We'll end with 2 heartwarming facts. First, sea otters genuinely hold hands while sleeping in the water. They do this charming behavior to keep from drifting apart from their mates or their group, forming what is known as a raft. It's a literal way of staying connected. Second, regarding human interaction. If you find a baby bird that has fallen out of its nest and you touch it to put it back, the mother bird will not reject or abandon it. This common concern is false because birds do not rely on a sense of smell to identify their offspring. It is perfectly safe to carefully return a fallen nestling to its home. The animal kingdom is a place where science is always stranger and often kinder than fiction.